Welcome to Faith Alive in 5, the 5-minute gospel. Now here's your host, Dr. Faye.
Today, in closing the gap between the prophecy and the promise, I would like to continue the teaching on courage, because I think it's so vital right now in a post-pandemic environment, this rebirth of all creation, of the planet, and of each of us individually. There is a new life that we've all been given in this post-pandemic era, and it requires courage in order to take steps, because we've lived in fear for so long, and now it's time to be free of that and break the ties that have been binding us. So I want to continue, and thank you guys for listening, and thank you for your prayers and your support for this radio broadcast, Faith Alive in 5, the 5-minute gospel. So let's continue. In 1 Chronicles 28 and 20, David said to Solomon his son to be strong and courageous. He was giving him courage because David knew that Solomon was about to take his place, and that he knew the millions of trials and tribulations that were ahead of him. So he says, be strong and courageous and do the work. It's going to take some chutzpah. It's going to take your courage and your strength and your focus in order to do the work you've been called to do. So he says, don't be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God, my God, is with you. He will not fail you or forsake you until all the work for the service of the temple of the Lord is finished. We know David desired to build the temple, but Solomon was graced to build the temple. And we see today that right now there are so many people whose hearts are failing them, who are being discouraged. Maybe you're one of those people. So I want to ignite a fire in you right now for the next couple of minutes, that you will listen to this and finally realize that all of the fear that we were all clouded and crowded with is dissipating, and it's now time for your light to shine and to begin to come forth. In 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, the Apostle Paul writes to the brothers and sisters there, and he tells them to stand firm, because you know this is the infancy of the church, the ecclesia, and there are so many questions and disturbances that are going on because of the consistent attack upon the faith. So he tells them, I want you, brothers and sisters, stand firm. Don't be weak-kneed. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord. Pour yourself into it, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. So regardless of the obstacles and the opponents and the trials and the tribulations and the things that oppose you, he is saying, go for it anyway, because it's not going to be in vain. God is with you. Deuteronomy 31 and 6 through 8 is just so powerful, and I can't help but to share this with you. He says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. Whatever the them is for you, he said, don't be terrified of them. Them the finances, them the health issues, them the people at work, them the employers or employees, them people. Don't be afraid of them. For the Lord your God goes with you, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. Highlight hashtag never leave. He'll never leave. Then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel to be strong and courageous. So God telling Joshua to be strong and courageous, it was not the first time Joshua had heard that, because Moses had already told him, be strong and courageous. So God came back and to affirm that. For you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them. And you have to divide it among them as their inheritance. You ever had to divide inheritance before? Some of you can witness to that. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. You notice a common thread here? Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. Go. The Lord is with you. I want you to know, go, do, be, because not only is God with you, God is in you. And greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I want to give a shout out to all of the local churches. Bridge Church, I know you went through some stuff, but thank God he's a restorer of heritage. The fire turned into a blessing for you. I thank God for Wayside Ministries, Pastor London over there. And by the way, Eric and Tanya Jones are pastors at the Bridge Church. Go and see them. Say hello. Go be a blessing to that house. Go be a blessing to Lively Stone. Go be a blessing to Benton Temple. Go be a blessing to First Baptist. Go be a blessing to Southside. Just go be a blessing somewhere, and God will bless you. I'm Dr. Faye, your pastor coach. Remember, the calling is a gift, but the choice is yours. And I'll see you next time as I continue the series on closing the gap between the prophecy and the promise. Take courage.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. Dr. Faye would love hearing from you. Contact her today at 870-860-9758 or email coach@drfaye.com. And remember, the calling is a gift, but the choice is yours.